In a world where strength is measured by belts and bravado, two unassuming black twin girls step into a karate dojo, their quiet confidence masking a secret that will leave black belts trembling. What happens when the underestimated unleash their relentless fury? Dive into this gripping tale of courage, skill, and triumph against all odds. Subscribe now to join our community of story lovers and never miss a pulse-pounding narrative like this one. The sun dipped low over the small town of Crestwood, casting a golden haze through the dusty windows of the Rising Dragon Karate Dojo. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of sweat and polished wood. The dojo was a sanctuary for some, a proving ground for others. But for 14-year-old twins, Aisha and Amara Jackson, it was a new beginning. The sisters stood side by side at the edge of the mat, their identical faces calm but alert, their dark eyes scanning the room. Their tightly braided hair gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and their plain white karate uniforms, slightly oversized, hung loosely on their slender frames. They were new to Crestwood, having moved from the city just a week ago, and this was their first day at the dojo. No one knew them here. No one knew what they were capable of. The dojo buzzed with activity. Students of all ages stretched, sparred, and practiced katas, their movements sharp and disciplined. At the center of the room, 3 black belt students, Darius, Malik, and Tasha, held court. They were the dojo's pride, teenagers who had trained for years under Sensei Nakamura, a stern but fair instructor known for his rigorous standards. Darius, the tallest, had a swagger that matched his reputation as the dojo's top fighter. Malik, lean and quick, was known for his precision kicks. Tasha, with her sharp tongue and sharper strikes, was the group's unspoken leader. The trio noticed the twins immediately, their eyes narrowing as they sized up the newcomers. "Who are these two?" Tasha muttered, folding her arms. "They look like they wandered in from a library." Her voice carried just enough to reach Aisha and Amara, who exchanged a glance but said nothing. They had heard worse. Growing up in a rough neighborhood, they'd learned to let words slide off them like water, but their silence only seemed to irritate Tasha more. She sauntered over, flanked by Darius and Malik, her black belt tied tightly around her waist. "You girls lost?" Tasha asked, her tone dripping with mockery. "This ain't no dance class. You sure you're in the right place?" The other students paused, sensing the tension. Aisha tilted her head slightly, her expression unreadable, while Amara's lips twitched into the faintest smile. "We're here to train," Aisha said simply, her voice steady. Tasha snorted. "Train? You two look like you'd break if someone breathed on you too hard. What's your rank? White belt, I'm guessing?" She smirked, glancing at their plain uniforms. "We don't have belts yet," Amara replied, her tone matching her sister's calm. "We're just starting here." Darius laughed, a deep, booming sound. "Just starting? Oh, this is going to be fun. Sensei's going to eat you alive." Malik leaned in, his eyes glinting with mischief. "Maybe you should stick to something easier. Yoga, maybe?" The trio laughed, and a few other students joined in, their chuckles echoing off the dojo walls. Aisha and Amara stood their ground, their faces betraying nothing. They had faced bigger challenges than a few taunts, much bigger. Sensei Nakamura entered the room, his presence commanding instant silence. He was a wiry man in his 50s, his black gi pristine, his eyes sharp as a hawk's. "Line up," he barked, and the students scrambled into formation. The twins took their place at the back, their movements precise despite their lack of formal rank. Nakamura's gaze lingered on them briefly before he began the class. "Today, we focus on sparring," he announced. "Strength, control, and respect, no exceptions." His eyes swept over the group, pausing on Darius, Malik, and Tasha. "Some of you need a reminder of what respect means." The class moved. Through warm-ups and katas, the twins keeping pace effortlessly. Their movements were fluid, almost instinctual, drawing curious glances from some of the younger students. Tasha, however, wasn't impressed. During a break, she whispered to Darius and Malik, her voice low but venomous. "Those two think they're slick. We'll see how tough they are when it's time to spar." The trio exchanged nods, their plan forming. They didn't know Aisha and Amara's history, their years of training in secret, their survival in a world that had tried to break them. They didn't know the twins had fought battles far harder than any dojo could offer. When sparring began, Nakamura paired students based on experience. Aisha and Amara were matched with lower-ranked students at first, green and yellow belts who were eager but clumsy. The twins moved with a grace that belied their unranked status, their blocks and strikes precise, their footwork flawless. They didn't overpower their opponents. Instead, they controlled the fights, guiding their partners' movements like conductors of a symphony. Nakamura watched from the sidelines, his expression unreadable, but his eyes narrowing slightly. Tasha noticed too, and it infuriated her. "They're showing off," she hissed to Malik. "Time to put them in their place." When Nakamura called for open sparring, Tasha volunteered immediately, pointing at Aisha. "I'll take her," she said, her voice loud enough for everyone to hear. The room went quiet. A white belt against a black belt was unheard of, but Nakamura didn't intervene. He simply nodded, his gaze flicking to Aisha. "Very well, mat's clear. Begin when ready." Aisha stepped onto the mat, her posture relaxed but her eyes locked on Tasha. The older girl smirked, cracking her knuckles. "Don't cry when you hit the floor, newbie," she taunted. Aisha didn't respond. The match began with a sharp bow, and Tasha wasted no time, lunging with a high kick aimed at Aisha's shoulder. The move was fast, but Aisha was faster. She sidestepped, her body swaying like a reed in the wind, and countered with a palm strike to Tasha's chest, just hard enough to push her back. The room gasped. Tasha stumbled, her face flushing with embarrassment. "Lucky shot," she spat, circling Aisha. The fight escalated quickly. Tasha threw a flurry of punches and kicks, each one met with Aisha's calm deflections. The twins' movements were almost hypnotic, her body flowing from one stance to the next, never wasting energy. When Tasha overcommitted to a roundhouse and kick, Aisha seized the opportunity, sweeping Tasha's standing leg and sending her crashing to the mat. The room fell silent. Tasha scrambled to her feet, her face a mask of fury. "You think you're tough?" she snarled, but there was a tremor in her voice. Before Nakamura could call the match, Darius stepped forward. "I'm next," he declared, pointing at Amara. "Let's see if your sister's got the same tricks." Amara stepped onto the mat, her expression as serene as Aisha's. Darius was taller and heavier, his strikes powerful but predictable. Amara danced around him, her footwork a blur, her counters sharp and controlled. When Darius lunged with a heavy punch, Amara ducked, under his arm, hooked his elbow, and used his momentum to flip him onto his back. The impact echoed through the dojo. Malik, watching from the sidelines, clenched his fists. "This is bullshit," he muttered. The twins' performance drew murmurs from the other students. Some were impressed, others skeptical. Tasha, still, smarting from her defeat, rallied Darius and Malik during the next break. "They're cheating somehow," she insisted. "No way, two nobodies are that good. We need to take them down together." The trio's plan was reckless, but their pride was wounded. They waited until the end of class, when Nakamura dismissed everyone to practice freely. As the twins stretched near the back of the dojo, Tasha approached, Darius and Malik close behind. "You think you're hot stuff, huh?" Tasha said, her voice low and dangerous. "This dojo's ours. You don't belong here." Aisha and Amara stood slowly, their eyes meeting Tasha's without fear. "We're just here to train," Amara said, her tone even. "You don't have to make this a problem." Tasha laughed, but it was a brittle sound. "Oh, it's a problem. Step outside. Let's settle this for real." The other students watched, some whispering, others backing away. Nakamura was in his office, unaware of the brewing conflict. "You care your hot stuff, huh?" Tasha said, her voice low and dangerous. "This dojo's ours. You don't belong here." Aisha and Amara stood slowly, their eyes meeting Tasha's without fear. "We're just here to train," Amara said, her tone even. "You don't have to make this a problem." Tasha laughed, but it was a brittle sound. "Oh, it's a problem. Step outside. Let's settle this for real." The other students watched, some whispering, others backing away. Nakamura was in his office, unaware of the brewing conflict. Outside, in the alley behind the dojo, the air was cool and sharp. The twins followed the trio, their steps measured. Tasha, Darius, and Malik spread out, forming a loose semicircle. "No rules out here," Tasha said, cracking her neck. "Just us and you." Aisha and Amara exchanged a glance, a silent conversation passing between them. They had been in situations like this before, cornered, outnumbered, underestimated. They knew what came next. Tasha lunged first, aiming a vicious kick at Aisha's ribs. Aisha caught her leg, twisting it just enough to throw Tasha off balance, then shoved her back. Darius charged at Amara, his fists swinging, but Amara slipped under his guard, striking his knee with a quick, precise kick that buckled him. Malik hesitated, his confidence shaken, but he joined the fray, aiming a flurry of punches at Aisha. The twins moved as one, their bodies in perfect sync, deflecting and countering with a speed that left their opponents reeling. It wasn't just skill, it was instinct, honed by years of fighting to survive. The fight was over in minutes. Tasha lay sprawled on the ground, clutching her side. Darius groaned, his knee throbbing. Malik backed away, his hands raised in surrender. The twins stood untouched, their breathing steady, their faces calm. "We didn't come here to fight you," Aisha said quietly, "but we will if we have to." Amara stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. "Leave us alone, and we'll do the same." The next day, word of the alley fight spread through the dojo. Some students whispered in awe, others in disbelief. When Nakamura called the class to order, he addressed the room with a rare intensity. "Respect is not given, it is earned," he said, his eyes lingering on Tasha, Darius, and Malik, who stood at the back, their heads bowed, "and it can be lost just as easily." He turned to Aisha and Amara, who stood at their usual spot, their expressions neutral. "You two, front of the class." The twins stepped forward, ignoring the stares. Nakamura studied them for a long moment before speaking. "Your skill is unusual for beginners," he said. "Where did you train before?" Aisha hesitated, then answered, "We didn't have a dojo. We learned from our father. He taught us to protect ourselves." Amara added, "We had to. Where we grew up, you either fought or you didn't survive." The room was silent. Nakamura nodded, his expression softening. "You have much to learn, but you have a strong foundation. You will train with the advanced class from now on." Tasha, Darius, and Malik never challenged the twins again. Over time, the dojo became a place of mutual respect, where skill trumped ego. Aisha and Amara earned their belts, not through flash or bravado, but through relentless dedication. They became legends in Crestwood, not just for their fighting prowess, but for their quiet strength, their unbreakable bond, and their refusal to be anything less than who they were. Wow, what a journey! What did you think of Aisha and Amara's story? Drop a comment below and let us know your favorite moment or how this tale inspired you. Your thoughts fuel our storytelling passion.